What made Darry so special in Jeepers Creepers? We can run over so many different possible ideas of what exactly Darry Jenner had, which intrigued the creeper so much, but there is a definitive answer, and honestly, never thought about it until now, and now I kind of can't get it out of my head.
But you don't think I can understand the complex nature of your relationships?
No, I look at you as a real expert.
So let this video serve you as a reminder to pay close attention so you don't end up missing the point like I always clearly do, somehow. This film, killing one of two siblings after we see them attempt to bond, was a perfect example of how you could bring an audience to fall in love with a character you know is inevitably going to be killed off. Because it authentically raises the stakes. From early on, we immediately care for these two characters. But to answer the question about Darry, we would need to understand exactly what it is that causes the creeper to want. Now, a lot of people know this if you're hardcore Jeepers Creepers fans, but it's not solely for the purpose of fun, or the hunt, or the sport, or the pleasure, or anything, which I'm sure has a big part to play, probably. But it does come down, at the end of the day, to what it needs, picking the best of people and taking from them what it needs. The second film was a great example of it. The first film showed it vaguely, and then the psychic Giselle really brought the fact to light. But the second film is where we could properly see it in action, and we know it has to do with whatever person it takes is the best viable option of whatever that thing it needs from that person, I guess. But then you can raise the argument at the beginning of Jeepers Creepers 1, with Trish Jenner being the healthier and stronger person, the creeper clearly didn't want her. Because until the end of the film, it didn't really show it, but the choice was made, and then throughout the entire film we can see the creeper always wanted Darry from the moment it smelled him to the moment it took him. So that raises the question, why? The opener to this film was actually our first clue. We're introduced to Trish and Darry arguing in their car on a road trip home. But during this, and don't worry because it slipped my head a lot too, but we spot Trish fiddling with a pair of glasses. And this is important because at the end of the film we see Darry Jenner, the last time we ever see him in the film, his eyes are removed from his head. This film told us from the very beginning that she didn't have what the creeper wanted or what the creeper needed. And obviously this is the biggest factor, but of course his fear would play a major motivation for the creeper. From the moment the creeper smelled his dirty laundry, he knew he was scared. More scared than his sister, and that's obviously what the creeper looks for, it's fear. But to be blunt and say the creeper was going blind sounds dumb and silly, but the film suggests that's exactly what was happening. I always loved the road rage scene in this film. I find it brilliant because you obviously understand that it was a tactic to cause the two of the siblings to become more scared so it could know who of any two it wanted. I do believe the only hole in this idea though would be if being scared, which Darry was the main reason the creeper wanted him. How would that work? Because obviously at the end Trish is brave and becomes the hero, but then you remember that Darry also wanted to go back and help whoever was down the pipes, and he also hit himself in front of his sister before being shortly taken out the window. So that's the only plot hole, but it did serve the story. I mean, maybe you could just say that Darry had like a false sense of bravery and he wasn't really being brave, he was terrified but done it anyway. In the end, Trish offered herself for the life of her brother, and that's probably what sealed his fate, but who knows? If you look at it like this, it all kind of circles back its way around. Jeepers Creepers, the title of the song. Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? The name of the movie. It's always been foreshadowing the ending. A lot of fans believe the sequel to this film was done wrong and it wasn't a true sequel at all. Like, why was Darry's eyes in parts of the sequel, but then parts of it wasn't? Then we could also spend time thinking, what if Darry didn't just stop and check down those pipes? Then maybe, just maybe, the creeper wouldn't have got the scent that it couldn't stop chasing after. Though Giselle warned him it was actually him that's going to be taken, I believe this was the reaction to the information that caused the creeper to know he was exactly who he wanted. A deleted scene from this film actually showed the creeper speaking after taking the tongue of one of the deputies. Some real dark stuff. And we see it in the sequel how the creeper takes Dante's head and would use it for himself. I could make a list of reasons why I find this character so terrifying, but to summarize it, I always believed it was that it always asserted that even if you think it won't get you, that it would, because there's no real way anyone could escape. Because until it has what it wants, it won't ever stop trying. And that scene where Darry and Trish witness the creeper for the first time, you can see the terror in their face. And you can only imagine, knowing the monster you were warned about was real, then the cogs will start to turn and you start to believe this psychic because everything she has said to you so far became true. You couldn't even imagine to begin what these two people might be thinking. Alternatively, the ending of this film had gone differently, with the body panning to Darry's torso. Then we see the creeper. It shows the creeper with Darry's head, suggesting that he had taken the head and not just the eyes. And the smirk on the face is So scary. This scene I always found to be unbelievably tense, and I'm so glad it was the alternate ending and not actually in the movie. I've spoken about another alternate ending on a different video of mine. The movie didn't have this ending because of budget issues, but Darry actually took the wheel of the Creeper's truck and would go on to sacrifice himself. And since this was never shot, the ending we got, true as blue is the colour of the sky, is the ending to this film. Darry died, and we know why. I didn't think he would die when I first watched it. No, I didn't think he would. I believed he truly earned himself the right to live. He done the right thing, but he did die. He returned as a premonition in the second film and was originally slated to return for the third film as some sort of flashback or premonition, but the film never made it into production. If I could, would I change his fate at all? Honestly, I would love to, but I think seeing that final scene genuinely scarred me as a kid. I believe it was the most effective ending they could have had. It is a shame it had to be him, but it did have to be him. The eyes, everything. Thinking about his entire head being taken off and transported somehow onto the body of the Creeper is quite a thought to think about.